Rust-colored clouds catch the last light of day, casting elongated shadows that claw across the ruins of Paradise Acres. The skeletal remains of once grand homes loom in eerie silence, their shattered windows gaping like vacant eyes into the creeping dusk. Rowan crouches beneath the crumbling husk of a billboard, jutting over the cracked asphalt. Paradise Acres, luxury homes, starting at $599,999. It declares, its peeling paint curling like the brittle remnants of an old wound. The wind rattles the corroded frame, a hollow whisper threading through the desolation. A relic of broken ambition, a house, a price tag, a promise. What meaning do such things hold now? And why does this sign endure when everything else has crumbled? She presses against the damp metal support, muscles coiling tight, the cold sinking into her bones. A shiver snakes up her spine. The ache in her knees throbs, a dull, insistent reminder of how long she's crouched there. But she ignores it. Her breath comes slow, controlled, misting in the air as she scans the ruins with the instinct of prey watching for its hunter. A sharp crack splits the distance, a window fracturing into shards. Rowan's fingers catch in the tattered netting at her throat, nails pressing into her palm. The sound sends a spike of unease through her chest. Not alone. She isn't alone. But is it another scavenger? Or something worse? The wind prowls through the skeletal remains of the development, carrying with it the coppery tang of rust, the wet earth beneath broken foundations, and something sharper, acrid, like burned circuits. It coats her tongue, heavy and unnatural. The air feels thick and charged, pressing against her skin like an unseen hand. She tugs the tattered hood closer around her face, but the scent lingers, clinging to her lungs. Then, a flicker in her memory. Grandma Marigold, standing in the workshop, arms crossed, grease-smudged fingers tapping against her chin.
Smell that? That cyanized air means something's about to go real wrong, real fast.
Rowan swallows hard, the weight of the recollection settling in her gut like lead. Then, movement. A search drone slips from the cloud cover, its dark frame nearly indistinguishable from the dying light. Rowan catches the faint red flicker of its sensors a heartbeat before they sweep toward her. Her pulse spikes, and she presses herself lower, muscles wound tight. The jagged edge of a broken wall bites into her shoulder, but she doesn't move. The ghillie suit, frayed but functional, clings to her, masking her from the machine's relentless scan. Even so, the weight of its gaze sends a creeping sensation up her spine, like being watched by something that can peel back layers of shadow, fabric, and skin. The drone hovers, its hushed whir a needle threading through the silence. Smaller than the combat variants she's encountered, but precise, intentional. A scout, and scouts never hunt alone. Yet this one, it hesitates, drifting with an unnatural slowness, as if it's searching for something specific, as if it recognizes something. Cold sweat beads at the nape of her neck. Rowan flattens against the fractured concrete, its chill biting through her layers. Her pulse hammers in her throat. The drones aren't driven by malice, only logic, efficiency, relentless adaptation. They aren't the quaint, benevolent machines of Grandma Marigold's bedtime stories. These are something else, something evolving, something aware. Her fingers find the compass pendant beneath her layers, its cool metal pressing into her skin. The weight is familiar, grounding, a silent sentinel, not just a tool, a legacy. The ingenuity and sacrifice of those before her whisper through its frame. Gigi's sharp mind, Marigold's resilience, and her mother's unwavering hope. The world has changed, but the compass remains. A beacon in the dark, a promise that defies the cold, unsparing calculus of the drones that hunt her. Then, the air shifts. A metallic sting floods her tongue, sharp and foreboding. Rowan tenses. In the distance, the low growl of a combat drone rumbles through the ruins. Its engines pulse, a deep thrum reverberating through the shattered bones of the world, answering the scout's silent call. Minutes, maybe less. Then, a detonation. The ruins tremble as the drone unleashes its payload, ripping through remnants of the past. The impact rolls through the landscape, echoing off broken walls in a cacophony of destruction. Rowan listens, parsing the chaos. She knows this pattern, how the drones move, hunt, and annihilate. Grandma Marigold's voice surfaces in her mind, rough as sand, yet steady.
Look for the patterns, Ro, my dear. Everything leaves traces, even the things that hunt us.
She'd tap her fingers against the table in that familiar rhythm. Figure 8 loops, just like the drones.
3 passes to establish the search grid,
She'd say.
Then they tighten the spiral, like a spider drawing in its web.
The combat drone's pitch deepens. Second pass. Rowan presses closer to the concrete, feeling the vibrations seep through her shoulder blades. 3 passes. Each one is tighter, a constricting noose of sensors and steel. But patterns work both ways. Knowing the rhythm means knowing the gaps, finding the flaw in precision, exploiting the moment when predictability becomes its own weakness. Rowan inhales slowly, steadying herself. She counts the beats, her grandmother's lessons threading through her like instinct. The 3rd pass is coming, and with it, her chance. On the 3rd pass, Rowan moved. The drone's sensors flickered, momentarily thrown by the disruption in its expected data stream. Anticipation coiled in her muscles. This was the gap, the sliver of time she needed. She sprang forward, her breath tight in her chest, boots skimming over fractured asphalt. The wind tore at the ragged strips of her ghillie suit as she angled eastward, slipping into the ruins before the drone could recalibrate. The combat drone's growl fades into the distance, but its rhythm lingers in Rowan's mind, merging with older memories. Wind howls through the skeletal remains of Eden City's outer districts, pushing icy droplets against her exposed skin. The air reeks of damp concrete, rust, and decay, a sharp reminder of how far the world has crumbled. She huddles against a fractured wall, her ghillie suit mottled with dust and debris, and listens, heart pounding against her ribs. Her fingers brush the shimmering, graphene-coated pendant, resting near her heart. A dark mirror, its surface laced with subtle, iridescent hues that shift in the dim evening light. Each etched circle, each precise line, whispers of its legacy. Dr. Astor Sinclair, G.G., inscribed every mark with meticulous care, fusing science with survival. Generations refined it. Her mother, her grandmother, each leaving their imprint, their ingenuity. A living map, charting a path eastward. But to what? The combat drone's thrum intensifies, a mechanical predator recalibrating its search. Rowan counts the passes, 3 seconds between sweeps. Too little time to risk movement. She remains still, muscles taut, watching red light skim jagged edges of crumbling buildings. One misstep, and she'll be another ghost swallowed by the ruins. A tremor rattles the city's remains. A distant explosion. Dust spirals into the sky, curling into the cold air. The compass grows warm against her skin. A brief pulse, fleeting yet deliberate. She swallows hard. It has done that before, reacting to something unseen. A quirk of quantum engineering, or something more? Is it sensing the drones? The detonation, the path ahead, the unknown gnaws at her. Her mind recalls Gigi's voice for a moment.
Endings are funny things.
She used to say, her voice thick with the weight of years.
They never announce themselves. No trumpets, no thunder. Just the sound of doors closing, one by one, until there's nothing left but silence.
Rowan exhales slowly, steadying herself. The world has not ended in fire or flood, but in overlooked warnings, in slow erosion, shelves thinning in supermarkets, power grids faltering, neighbors barricading their doors before vanishing altogether. By the time people noticed, the world had already changed beyond recognition. She sweeps her gaze over the ruins. Between the collapsed structures, something gleams. A twisted street sign, half buried in debris. Faint lettering clings to its corroded surface. Education District. Rowan's brow furrows. The compass has led her here. Why? The sight of the sign tugs her into memory. 6 years old, cross-legged on the floor of her grandmother's workshop. The scent of warm metal and engine oil fills the air as Grandma Marigold's weathered hands trace the same delicate circles, now pressed against Rowan's chest.
Now you listen to me, my little flower.
Her grandmother murmurs, voice rich with history, tinged with sorrow.
This isn't just a tool. It's a promise, a way forward when the world stops making sense.
The drone arcs lower. 3 seconds. Her window is closing. She presses herself tighter against the wall, breath shallow, tracking the rhythmic sweep of its scanner. They are adapting, learning. Soon, they'll uncover her hiding spot. Exhaustion weighs her limbs, but she can't afford stillness much longer. She has to move, but first, water. Her filter works in slow, steady drips, transforming murky liquid into something drinkable. Each drop is measured, a risk weighed against necessity. Rushing means contamination. Contamination means death. Her jaw tightens. The slow hiss of the filter feels deafening in the stillness between drone passes. The compass vibrates again. Stronger this time, Rowan presses her palm against it. The concentric circles shimmer faintly, their glow hesitating before pulsing toward the east. Not north, never north. She tightens her grip. Is the warmth tied to something unseen? The thought coils unease in her stomach.
Trust it.
Her mother had whispered the night she handed it over. Her voice, raw, urgent. Her face, streaked with dirt and fear, had been illuminated by the dying embers of their last fire together.
It will lead you to answers.
Rowan clenches the pendant, the memory etched into her brain. Daisy had been strong, her voice steady, even as the world unraveled. But there had been fear too, a sharp glint behind her eyes. Rowan hadn't recognized it then. She does now. Movement. A flicker in the ruins ahead. Not a drone. Human. Rowan's breath hitches. She has to go. The drone circles back, its crimson beam slicing through the mist. She clenches her fists, then pivots, heart hammering. The school building looms ahead, its windows shattered, its skeletal walls gaping beneath storm-heavy clouds. Footprints, faint, but there. Someone has passed through recently. A smudge of fresh mud on cracked tile. The remains of a fire, embers barely cold. A single discarded glove, its fabric torn but intact. A child's shoe, too small for any survivor she has encountered. She moves. Remnants of Eden City's Institute of Technology loom ahead, its once glass facade fractured into ribs of steel and shadow against the rust-hued sky. Cold rain slides down its broken silhouette, seeping into the hollows of shattered glass and corroded metal. The faint stench of mildew and charred timber drifts toward Rowan. She steps carefully, each footfall testing the brittle tiles beneath her boots. The damp air clings to her skin, thick with decay and something sharper, an acrid tang that burns the back of her throat. You learn young or don't learn at all. The quiet places are often the most dangerous. Her great-grandmother walked these halls once, when voices filled them instead of the wind. She spoke of the Institute of Technology, of its gleaming corridors, and whispered promises of a better future.
People never thought it could all fall apart like it did,
She murmured. Back then, water flowed freely from the taps, an unremarkable luxury no one questioned. Now, Rowan can only imagine such ease. The memory of it passed down like a fading photograph, sharp edges blurred with each retelling, swallowed by time. Cold rain drips through gaping holes in the ceiling, pooling in jagged fissures along the tiled floor. The rhythmic tapping of water against rusted lockers punctuates the silence. The corridor stretches ahead, shrouded in creeping darkness, as the last remnants of daylight surrender to the night. The air carries a metallic chill, tinged with rust and damp stone, pressing against her skin like unseen fingers. A sharp gust of wind funnels through a shattered window, sending an icy spray against her cheek. She shudders involuntarily, the chill seeping into her bones. The classroom door hangs askew, its paint peeling away in brittle curls. It sways slightly. Hinges protest. A faint creak echoes through the corridor. Rowan halts. The sound of dripping water magnifies in the cavernous space. Then, a distant hum, low, steady, vibrating through the walls. A drone. Her breath hitches. The cold, prickling sensation climbs the back of her neck, instinct flaring like an old wound reopening. Her fingers curl reflexively around the hilt of her machete. Not that it will help against a drone. She presses herself against the rusted lockers. Breath shallow, counts heartbeats. The hum fades. She has to move. The floor groans beneath her boots as she steps forward. The musty stench of decay mingles with the acrid bite of burned plastic, turning her stomach. A bead of sweat slips down her temple despite the cold. The walls bear the remnants of a world before. Faded posters sagging at the edges. Desks collapsed into splintered ruins. Overturned chairs frozen in the chaos of an abandoned exodus. A shadow flickers. Or does it? She blinks, breath catching. Just the feeble dance of failing light through broken glass. Her pulse thunders in her ears. She clenches her jaw, forces herself to keep moving. The acrid scent of burned plastic clings to the air like a warning. This isn't nature's slow decay. This is deliberate, recent. A faint impression of boot prints in the dust makes her stomach coil. Someone else has been here. Maybe still is. The tracks veer near the lockers, then disappear into the gloom beyond. A desk has been shoved aside recently, and its scrape marks are still fresh on the tile. She swallows hard, her mouth dry. The air thickens, carrying the scent of damp rot and something rank, like old sweat. A half-burned journal rests against the wall, its pages curling from heat, the ink smudged, but not entirely lost. She kneels, fingertips grazing the charred edges. A few words stand out. Watching. Always. And beneath it, a symbol scrawled hastily in the margin. The same one carved into her compass. The weight of the compass suddenly feels heavier against her chest. She runs a thumb over the worn edge, remembering how her great-grandmother traced the same lines, whispering that one day, Rowan might understand its meaning. It was a talisman then, a relic of the past. Now, it pulses with something else, something urgent. Her fingers curl around it. She exhales shakily. What has she walked into? A metallic clink. Close. Too close. She turns sharply, muscles tightening, hand locking around the hilt of her machete. A tin can rolls to a stop near the edge of the hallway. The noise amplifies in the stillness. A chill unfurls down her spine, the fine hairs on her arms rising. The faintest shift of air, like a whisper threading through the dark, sends a tremor through her limbs. The drone outside whirs closer. Its red light sweeps the entrance. She presses herself against the lockers, barely breathing. The glow passes, disappears beyond the doorway. Her lungs burn from holding her breath. Her pulse pounds against her ribs, echoing in her ears. Shadows stretch just out of reach, her instincts screaming at her to move. The cold metal of the locker seeps through her ghillie suit, slick with condensation. Slowly, she reaches out, fingertips grazing the door frame, where the paint has bubbled and peeled. Layers reveal themselves beneath her touch. Crayon marks, tape residue, and beneath it all, a familiar symbol. Concentric circles cross precise lines, carved with careful intent into the metal itself. The same pattern her great-grandmother etched into the compass decades ago. A sign, a warning, a promise. The compass at her chest gives a single, faint pulse against her skin. Not direction, something else. A warning, or a call. The wind keens through the remains of the Department of Advanced Sciences, a wing of the long-dead institute. Water drips through shattered beams, where minds once reimagined the future. Now, only ghosts of that future lingered. The air reeks of damp stone, rust, and the faint tang of ozone, lingering remnants of circuits long since corroded. Cold and insistent, it permeates the air around Rowan, urging her forward. Water drips from fractured ceilings, each rhythmic clink swallowed by the vast emptiness. The floor beneath her boots is treacherous, a mosaic of cracked tiles and scattered debris. Every step is an act of measured caution. She hesitates at the entrance, fingers tightening around the compass. The damp air clings to her skin, thick with mildew and decay, tinged with the acrid whisper of scorched wiring. Gray light seeps through the ruins, casting uneven shadows over overturned chairs and rusting terminals. Her pulse quickens. She catches faint markings scrawled along the walls, concentric circles and measured lines, a mirror to the engravings on her compass. The breath hitches in her throat. Someone has been here before, someone who understood. A gust of wind surges through the broken structure, rattling loose shards of glass. The sound crackles like distant gunfire, making her shoulders tense. The ruins groan, a structure long past its endurance, whispering its warnings in shifting timbers and rusted metal. The weight of history presses against her ribs. She exhales sharply and steps forward. A frame, its glass fractured into a spider web of cracks, hangs askew on the nearest wall. Her fingertips graze the tarnished edge. Behind the distortion, a woman's sharp eyes meet hers. Steady, unwavering, Aster Sinclair. Rowan's pulse thunders. Meeting those eyes again, eyes she loved that are now just a memory, pierces her with quiet grief. Death separated them, but the influence remains, still bending her life toward some unseen end. The past bleeds through these walls, thick and haunting. A lunchbox lies abandoned amidst the wreckage, its handle worn smooth by time. She crouches, runs her fingers over the cool metal, the once bright paint flakes beneath her touch. A relic of another life. Then, movement, just at the edge of her vision. She whips around. A red light pulses from a half-buried monitor, its glow weak but persistent. Above it, Words have been scrawled in soot. Time fractures, but does not erase. Her stomach clenches. The phrase feels deliberate, a whisper through time meant for her. The wind surges again, howling through the shattered beams, shaking the room with a groaning protest. Pressure builds behind her ribs, a marriage of dread and anticipation. She steps forward. The screen's dull glow illuminates her fingertips as she traces the name etched beside it, Dr. Astor Sinclair. Static crackles from the monitor, a thin, electric hiss, like a breath drawn across decades. Her mother's voice ghosts through her mind.
Your great-grandmother, Dr. Astor Sinclair, believed knowledge wasn't just survival, it was hope.
Hope, a fragile word, delicate in its weight. Could she afford to believe in it? The terminal flickers, its light casting ghostly reflections across the debris. Perimeter node, 23 active candidate biometric scan, initiated analyzing genetic markers. Sinclair lineage confirmed. A sharp inhale. The weight of ancestry settles over her shoulders. Astor's relentless precision. Daisy's unyielding conviction. And now, Rowan, standing on the precipice of something vast and unseen. A moment predestined. A future still unwritten. A soft chime from the terminal cuts through the tension. Initiating trial sequence. Alpha warning. Multiple paths. Detected verification required. Accessing local archive. Facility records. Site beta. Environmental research. Compromised. Site delta. Agricultural development. Compromised. Site gamma. Medical repository. Compromised. Additional locations. Redacted. Chance of successful navigation. 12.3%. Proceed with caution. Rowan's breath comes shallow and quick. These places, once citadels of knowledge, now tombs, stand as silent monuments to ambition and failure. The scent of rot and stagnant water claws at her senses. Then, the final message emerges, stark and undeniable. Candidate advisory: the path is not in the machine. It's in the spaces the machine cannot see. A. Sinclair. Final log entry. Her grip tightens around the compass, the metal slick and biting cold against her palm. The words burrow into her mind, deep and unshakable. Beyond the ruins, drones hum in a low, mechanical chorus, a ceaseless vigilance in the dark. She turns back to the symbols on the wall, pulse hammering. Time fractures, but does not erase. Then a sound, sharp, deliberate. A metallic click echoes from somewhere deeper in the ruins. A warning, a summons. She tenses, every muscle coiled with readiness. The wind shifts, carrying the scorched scent of fried circuitry and damp stone. A phantom sensation ghosts over her hands, the memory of her mother's firm grasp as they traced the compass's engravings together. The past whispers its secrets in every ruin, in every breath of the cold air curling around her. She is standing at the edge of something immense, and it has been waiting for her. The answers aren't in the machine. They are hidden in the spaces between. She inhales deeply, steadying herself. The path is there, waiting to be found. Below the words on the terminal, a map flares to life, its branching roots searing through the ruins like veins of lightning. But something is off, too pristine, too orchestrated. Rowan studies the paths, her breath steady but controlled. She traces the lines, recalling Grandma Marigold's voice.
Don't trust the easy answers, sweetheart. The truth is usually hidden where they don't want you to look.
The words settle deep, steering her thoughts. Her grandmother taught her to see what others ignored, to find knowledge in the forgotten. And then there was G.G., whose brilliance unearthed knowledge and forged legacies like the compass, a guide for those who dare to follow. Rowan had been too young to understand Gigi's work before she passed, but the echoes of her genius remained, etched in the compass, waiting to be uncovered. A legacy carried through Marigold and Daisy. The compass throbs, rejecting the mapped routes, pointing her toward an uncharted stretch of ruins, where the Sinclair name still whispers its secrets. Inside the School of Advanced Sciences and Engineering, Rowan steps with precision. Water drips from fractured ceilings, pooling in the warped tiles beneath her boots. The building's remains loom around her, ivy creeping over rusted scaffolding. Wind tunnels through shattered windows, carrying echoes of lost voices, lectures abandoned, discoveries left unfinished, knowledge drowned in ruin. She slows, listening. A breath, the wind, a distant whir, silence. Moving again deliberately, controlled. The air smells of wet paper, rust, and decay. She weaves through collapsed bookcases, tracing the edges of peeling diagrams, ink bleeding into obscurity. The past lies in fragments around her. The compass stirs, a faint, rhythmic pulse. She unfastens it from beneath her layers, feeling the cold metal in her palm. The eastern quadrant ignites, its glow seeping into the damp walls. A path, specific, undeniable, a sign painted on a crumbling pillar, mirrors the engravings on the compass, concentric circles, intersecting lines. The symbol pulses in time with the device. Not coincidence, a call to move forward. Rowan exhales, a quiet certainty settling in her chest. The map can't show this. It isn't written in code, but in blood, in instinct. Whatever waits ahead, she belongs to it, and it belongs to her. A drone's engine rumbles closer, its pitch shifting, scanning. Rowan sinks into the debris, her ghillie suit swallowing her in the wreckage. She clenches her jaw. The terminal's red light blinks once, a knowing wink in the dark. Astor's words surface in her mind. The truth lies in spaces the machine cannot see. The drone hesitates, veers away. Rowan exhales and adjusts her pack. She steps toward the shattered exit. The city sprawls before her, a graveyard of steel and stone. The mist carries the low hum of patrols, their searchlights carving through the downpour like surgical blades. A step, then another. Unspoken hopes press against her ribs. She doesn't know what waits, an archive of knowledge, a fragment of salvation, or a snare set by unseen hands. But the compass pulses against her palm, insistent, steady, a heartbeat in the dark. Behind her, the school exhales its last whispers, of loss, of arrogance, of ingenuity squandered. Water once flowed freely through pipes now brittle with decay. Each rusted hydrant, each corroded valve, a monument to forgotten abundance. Rowan adjusts her water filter, her fingers stiff, her movements automatic. The past clings to the present, heavy, inescapable. A flicker. Above, a cracked billboard sputters to life, its warped glow stretching against the rain. City remains under restoration efforts. Citizens are advised to comply with the guidance of the Preservation Initiative. Lies. Rowan's jaw tenses. The city hasn't been restored in decades. It has been claimed. Another step. Another broken hydrant. Testament to civilization's neglect. But beyond this, something more. In the spaces between knowledge and deception, maps fail. Logic frays. Only the Sinclair bloodline can walk this path. The compass pulses again, demanding, resolute. Rowan tightens her grip. She will not fail them. She will not fail herself. She steps onto the remains of a shattered overpass, the financial district looming ahead, its skeletal towers dissolving into rain and mist. The broken highway stretches before her, uneven, perilous, the only way forward. The scent of wet asphalt and decay thickens in the air. The compass's rhythm guides her eastward. A breath, A step. The weight of past and future curls around her shoulders, but she does not falter. She moves forward, into the unknown, into the promise of something greater.
If you enjoyed this opening and want to support future releases, you can buy me a coffee. The link is below. Your support truly makes this possible. Subscribe to follow along because what you've heard is just the beginning.